Hello, my friends. It's Tuesday. I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening. It'll probably be evening here in about 20 minutes now that it gets dark at 3 o'clock. Especially because it's been raining where I'm at, so it chooses darkness. I will not exist without these at this point. From 36 on, I will not exist without these. So for today, I am thinking bronze smoky eye. Now, smoky eye doesn't always have to mean super black eyeshadow. Smoky eye can mean really mild. It's just about everything kind of flowing into one another. So when you think smoky eye, you can do a purple smoky eye, pink smoky eye, bronze smoky eye, gold smoky eye. I'm yapping too much. But this is a really good way to think about smoky is melting and kind of billowing into the next shade. No harsh lines, just a super fluffy, beautiful, soft transition. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is our color. I'm filming another video while I do this, but we're gonna take concealer and you're like, what? Listen, do you see how this concealer isn't going into, and what you're seeing there is actually my eye cream. Oh, this is a good learning moment. Ooh, let me yap for a second. Let me give you a yap. All right. This right here, that is absolutely sabotaging you. This is one of the reasons your eyeshadow's creasing, and just doing this sometimes is not enough. Even if we just tap it all away, that can be not enough. But let's go ahead, start with that. We're gonna start with that, all right? But I put on a little extra eye cream. I'm feeling a little dry. So that's why you're seeing that excess. But let me talk you through it. Let's get to the next step. So we tapped it away. Now I actually take a little bit. I know you're like, whoa, you're taking it off. You're not taking it off, I promise. It's there. In fact, it's really there. We don't want that. So you can see that there's barely any micellar water there, right? Take that on your fluffy brush. And we use fluffy because it's not going to take too much away. But that is still, even though it's wiped away with our finger, there's still stuff going on there. And this isn't gonna hurt my concealer either. Remember, I didn't even put it there. And I'll go back to the concealer in a second. But this is so important. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more because you wanna be able to feel the micellar water, but you don't want it to feel wet. You wanna feel it and then it almost dry instantly. I can already feel it drying. So that's the perfect amount to make sure that we don't have creasing once we get all of this eye makeup on. But then let's do a quick little dry off here. And then just to be safe, a whisper fluff. Look, that's all. Look at that. Hardly in. And this is just enough to make sure. Look, see how it's not even really mattifying it? It's not taking down the human element of my skin, but it's really setting and making sure that I dipped in for the second eye. So 1 dip per eye. So 2 dips total. It's just making sure that we're not going to have any kind of creasing, and it's just setting that skincare, and it's really priming. So normally I don't apply this much eye cream, but like I said, I apply too much. And if you have oily lids or you're just creasing a lot, we just save the day. Moving on. Now back to why I'm using concealer. I want coverage, okay? I want to kind of start to blink out even the little line that I have here. It'll disguise it a little bit. And I want a really full coverage eye look, because sometimes when you do a really full coverage eye, it looks super glam, and then you can wind up wearing less on your face. I've seen it. And the reason I'm not going to put it all over my eye is because sometimes concealers, we talked about dry time yesterday. Make sure you watch yesterday's story tutorial. You can have friction, and what can happen once you start to have the friction is that the shadow can start to fade, peel, not wear nicely. So that's why I normally stick to eye primers. But up here, we don't have friction. There's nothing rubbing. This, you can put concealer. And then you're wondering, Rose, why are you using a fluffy brush? Well, that's because I'm going around my brows and I don't want harsh lines. So by pressing that just into the very bottom part of the brow, I don't get too much of a carve, which I love carve. We're not here judging nobody. You do what makes your makeup art sing. But for this particular look, I wanted less of a carve and a little bit softer application. So that's why I'm applying with a fluffy brush. All right, now Let's make sure that that's not going into the socket. It's okay if a little bit gets in there. It's not that dire, but we definitely don't want this amount through here. So remember yesterday we used the white one and it didn't work out the way that we needed it to work out for that specific look. Now, I mentioned the pigment. White tends to want to dry down very quickly, and white in general just wants to be patchy. I do know, but I'd be here for days trying to explain the science behind it because I don't speak science, but I understand the theory behind it. But that all being said, I really like these. So this is what we're going for here, and I actually grabbed from that, so you'll see that it goes on really nicely and smooth. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put about that much, and again, we don't want a dense brush because we want everything to be very melty, soft, build. Smoky eyes are all about building and taking your time with how you layer. Because one thing a smoky eye wants to do is get out of control. Okay, now it's time for bronzer. And I'm gonna choose this bronzer because it's not too red and it's also not too orange. It's right in the middle for me. This is NYX Butter Bronzer, Butta Off. And then I'm gonna pick it up in the center, okay? And then from here, what I'm gonna do is I like to start in the socket because that's kind of a safe place to start. That way, if there is too much product, I didn't apply it up here. So that's a really, really good tip. So just keep transitioning that and soften that over. I'm gonna pick up more. And again, focus it here first, then tap it over this way. And this is the bronzer that we're gonna use all over our face later. So it's going to make everything look really seamless. Now, this is the part that if you wanted to add black, you would. And what you would do is you would just start to add it on your lid, on the smallest part of your lid. I would even start on the lash line and I would use a brush. I would use this tiny little itty bitty E27. I'm gonna give you a link, but that's what I would do. And then from there, I would just use the side of my brush to just bring it up. And then I would not let that black go past about right above that fold, right above it. Really on just about, not all eye shapes, but just about any. And the reason why is because once the black starts to get anywhere past there, it starts to feel out of control. That's a good way to put it. So that is something to keep in mind, but this is all the structure if you wanted black. But I'm sticking to nice dark browns today. So we're gonna grab this Kiko Milano eyeshadow and we're gonna start to really push that into the socket. And again, that's a really good idea. This is even too far up for the black. I would actually then grab this shade to transition the black. But this one can go up a little bit higher because it doesn't want to ruin my day. And then we'll grab our E29 and just tap this, tap the darker shadow edges just to soften it up a little bit. And if you need to transition a little bit more and you're not liking the way that it's blending, grab some bronzer, that bronzer that I already showed, and then tap that kind of into and on top. And then you'll get the most perfect transition. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Let me finish it up. We're gonna do this eye together, but I needed to add a little bit more over here. And I'll just go ahead and bring it out because we're gonna melt and clean all of that up anyways. All right, are we ready? Where's my milk eyeshadow base? We gotta use the tacky one because it's gonna be nice and pigmented this way. All right. Somewhere in the chaos is my dual ended. I don't know where it went. I'll just use this one. C31. Smooth it out. And you'll notice that we didn't even have to clean up the lid space, none of that. Now, because this brush is so long in terms of how long the fibers are, what I can do is I can pick it up on the side And again, I'm not going for precision, so I don't have to worry about that. But I can take this and look at how nicely it deposits that. All right, let me just finish this up. This light right now, but I definitely want you to see. Now, like I said, I'm not going to worry too much towards the front. I'm going to use another one there. But I'm just going to make sure it's nice and pigmented all over the lid. This color is spectacular. Okay, I'm going to wipe my brush off on Sheila, the neon from yesterday. And then I'm just going to tap. I'm using the tip of the brush now to kind of tap that. Not really over. I want to keep the socket towards the brow more matte, but I'm softening it into our crease color. It's time to start cleaning this up. By the way, I don't use these for fallout. I'd be yapping too much. They start to move all around my face. 𝗕𝗵𝗂 micellar water. We're gonna start to tap and then wipe on Sheila, grab more. And I'm sure that if you've been here for a minute, I'm gonna yap a little. But instead of using a more dense brush, we're getting a really nice even blend if we use a fluffy brush here and micellar water. So it's gonna start to take away what we don't want without leaving harsh lines. Love harsh lines, love graphic eye. Did one yesterday. But that being said, smoky eyes are generally about the melt. It's about how melted in everything can be. So I like to clean up. I want a tight line. I want a tight line. Gel liner, 𝗕𝗵𝗂𝘂. I'm gonna grab another brush. It's not that you need two 𝗕𝗵𝗂𝘂s, you just need a small handle brush. And then grab the product, grab the gel liner. Then I'm gonna hold my lashes up like this. And then what you do is, I'm not going underneath. If a little gets underneath, that's okay. But what I'm doing is I'm filling in gaps in the lashes. Fun, right? And then I'm definitely gonna do a bronze bottom waterline. Don't do this into your phone. Don't do as I do. Just do as I do. I'm gonna do Dream Chaser lashes today. These are a more rounded shape instead of a cat eye. But I really like that whenever I do a smoky eye, because I don't really always want to do a wing, because I want it to be really, really smoky. And sometimes a wing, not that you shouldn't do one, I'm just telling you kind of what I'm into. A wing can kind of cut that off. So once I get my foundation and my concealer on, I want to kind of continue that depth, and the wing kind of limits. So that being said, I like to wear a more rounded lash with this. Yes, get on there. These are so pretty. Let's get our foundation on. I'm gonna try this one out. Bare Minerals sent this over. I actually have it right there. That shade match is pretty good. It's a little too light. I feel like everything's a little too light for me right now. I'm not quite in my winter shade. See, it does dry down a little bit darker, but it's not quite dark enough, but we can make it work. I'm gonna do a lot of bronzer today because I feel like that really does add to your bronzy smoky eye. So it's gonna be perfect. As long as the undertone is right, and this undertone is gonna be right for me, we can pretty much get things to work for us. It's when we have to really start working on that undertone that it gets a little complicated. Not that I don't have faith in y'all. By now, I feel like y'all can fix anything. But we have to remember that we have new friends joining us every day. So they need to be in on all of the good stuff. It's a pretty foundation. I like it. I like how it's not drying down crazy fast. It's a matte foundation, but it's not drying down. That's really nice. Let me put some here. I feel like we'll like this. We is in me. Good coverage. Now we need our foundation here. Okay, that's always in the back of my hand. I'm grabbing from the small, see, that would be too much to grab from. And y'all have probably seen me do this. I'm gonna start here. And the reason that we use foundation is because it's not gonna be as pigmented as concealer. So it's going to be a little bit more melty instead of just very cover. And that's not what we want. Okay, pick up a little bit more. And I wasn't sure how much was on my brush, so you'll notice that I tapped here to make sure that I didn't have too much. That way, when we move here, I'm melting and not covering. Melt, melt, melt. Beautiful. So what we're gonna do, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna get pretty wild with our cream bronzer, okay? We're gonna get really wild, but you'll notice I don't have concealer on yet. If y'all don't have this brush, please. And the reason I grabbed it on the center is because I know that I'm going to get wild. So I want the full amount. This is going in my hair. It's going everywhere. But we're gonna be able to kind of bring it back a little bit. And also, I don't want you to be afraid of this because this is why we're doing the concealer after. But this is something I would do for a special occasion. This wouldn't be an everyday situation. And I'm also using a cream bronzer that I know very well and I trust, and it respects me. So this is kind of like, because I'm going to be using a very full coverage concealer, it's kind of like an intense, almost underpaint. Don't be frightened. Ooh, did you just see what I just did there? I was holding the brush. Sometimes even I want to do it. I want to hold it like that, but we're actually going to get more control. And I find that it's even a more even blend when I hold the brush further out. That's why we did the longer handles. There is a reason that they are longer handles. There's also a reason that I did each brush. That's why I don't, sometimes you see how there's a lot of brush kits that can have, I don't know, 40 brushes in it. There's a reason that there's the amount of brushes that there are. Okay, nice. Now, let's grab our C42 and we're gonna melt the edges. This also works best with a more full coverage foundation and concealer to do this technique. This isn't something I would do with a light coverage or a tinted moisturizer because you need that heavier pigment from the foundation, and this one has more coverage to kind of blur and blend edges. And I also don't want to put extra foundation on top, just kind of moving from here over it. Look at how pretty that looks. See, it's not scary at all. And we don't even have concealer on yet. But this is a technique I like to do when I'm doing more of a heavy glam. Full glam. Heavy sounds bad, but in my heart, I don't mean that negatively. Glam me up. Oh, I forgot to bronze up my nose a little bit. And when you see me put bronzer on my nose, ooh, look how nicely that fits in there. I'm not contouring. What I'm doing is I'm shaping. So shaping and sculpting are different. So you can see how we can shorten a little bit, but we're not using a shadow to completely change the shape of it. Ooh, that looks so good by adding that extra bronzer there. And you're getting such a nice transition that way. But that all being said, I'm still going to take my C42. This is the C43, remember that? So C42, and I'll go down the center. And I'm just always about melting. Nice. Let's add this to my waterline before I forget. I'm actually gonna set this aside because I'm gonna use this out of the waterline, but I do need to get my concealer on first. But I wanted to put this on just to kind of move it along. Now we're gonna go in with our Jouer concealer. Definitely want some more coverage here. But you're still gonna notice that I'm trying my best to apply it very flat. That is so important. And the reason why it's important is because going over uneven concealer with a brush, a sponge, anything, it's just gonna cause you issues with wear time, application, patchiness. Everything that we don't want to happen will happen. So this brush is sold out, and thank y'all so much. Y'all are selling out so many of the brushes, and I love y'all so much. Thank you. Ooh, look at that blend. See how we're coming back to not chaos? Nice, nice. Now look at this difference, okay? Do you see this? Seamless. Get your puff. Preferably your Rose and Ben Beauty Puff. I sound like a recipe. Have you ever read a recipe? It's like, get your chocolate, preferably Hershey's chocolate. I just feel so silly. I never want y'all to be annoyed with me, and I know I say that a lot, and that's probably annoying, but being a salesperson like this is a little difficult for me, but I feel like if I just joke about it, and I joke about even turning it into like a 90s infomercial, I enjoy it more. All right, so we're setting. Okay, setting like we always do. Then what I do is I take my puff and I just evenly press it out here. Look at how it just instantly blended that. So easy. So easy. Now this color's perfect. This is the one from Kosas that's on our waterline. And I forgot to tag, I'm yelling. I forgot to tag the cream bronzer. That's the Dominique one that I use all the time. So that's the cream bronzer I used. And then the liner I did already tag and label. And then before this sets, I'm just gonna smudge it out a little bit. It has a really nice dry time. And then of course we won't have fallout because it's a pencil. Isn't that pretty? It's so bronzy. I'm gonna add a little bit more over here too. So I discovered this color the other day. This is a blush, I know. I know, like, what is this? But once I get it on my face, I think it's not pH reactive. No. But once it kind of just melts into, see, the kind of moisture that's still in my skin, again, not pH reactive, but the pigment comes out, the color, the actual color. But I just feel like this goes so nicely with bronzer and this bronze look. I'm just gonna melt it into the edge bronzer, and then I'm going here with the blush, kind of as a little rainbow on my forehead. Think of it that way. I just think this is such a seamless formula too. It's beautiful. I love this. I discovered this the other day, and I've been wearing it a lot. Now this shade you're gonna want, I actually filmed a video with it, which you'll see, and I don't want it to sell out, but this is going to be the perfect holiday eyeshadow. Today we're going to use it as an inner corner highlight. It's so pretty. Oh, so delightful. I look really bronzy and I like it. So we're going to do this Maybelline lip liner. I liked this more muted red. This one is called Peaking. But wait. Now let's do this MAC lip gloss. This is the shade Oh Baby. And now we have this kind of bronzy candy lip. Oh, it's so good. This is exactly what I envisioned. So pretty. Yep, this is gonna be my holiday look for the season. This lip is so pretty. It's not red, but it's not bronze, and it's not nude. And I feel like that lip liner will be pretty on quite a few skin tones as well. I like it. And then I've been wanting to wear that gloss. I've had that gloss, I don't even know how long, and I've been wanting to wear it. So I feel like it just went perfectly with this look. And of course, Kiko shadows. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. I feel cute. I love y'all so much. I have important meetings I gotta go hop on. First, I gotta go eat some cereal. It's the frosted shredded wheat today. I'm wild. All right, I love you so much. I love you with all of my heart. I'm not sure I'm gonna post tonight, but if I do, I'll let you know. Thank you for being here with me. We have fun. All right, love you.